Okay. Hey, welcome back, everybody. So, so what I'm fired up about, I'm seeing comments and reports and stuff, and comments about interviews being made about things in Iowa. To my knowledge, and Pat, maybe I'm wrong about this. You know, I don't follow TV news. I don't have basic cable at my house, but I keep up on local stuff as best I can. In spite of that, I haven't seen any reporting of riots around Iowa, and yet I'm seeing peaceful protesters who closed down I-80 in Iowa City and caused some inconvenience for some folks, but those were peaceful protests. The people that, I think, to the extent that they weren't supposed to be there, the folks that organized it, or the folks that could grab, were arrested, which is normally how it happens. But there's been no reporting of rioting around Des Moines. Wednesday morning, folks at the different high schools around Des Moines staged a walkout. The students did. A bunch of them did anyway, in protest over the election. And for my money, you protest an election. What else are you going to do about it? You voted for your candidate. Your candidate didn't get enough votes. This country has a long history and has a constitutional right to peaceably assemble. Now, rioting, yes, there's been reporting of rioting and burning down businesses and all the rest of it. It's by no means the majority, and that stuff is terrible. And you know that is not something I would ever cotton to. It does not comport with my values, but to the extent that people want to protest a democratic election in this country and take no further action than that, I'm absolutely fine with it. The winners, we can snicker. There was a lot of protest. Maybe not demonstrations like we're seeing today, but there's protests of the Obama election 2008. To the extent like we're angry and we don't want, this isn't our guy. Plenty of people said not my president back then. But those folks, they're expressing their frustration, their anger, their disappointment, and as long as it's peaceful, as long as it's not, I have no issues with it. I wouldn't criticize Republicans for doing it either. I certainly didn't criticize Tea Party folks for the intense protests about Obamacare. I certainly didn't criticize folks for protesting or for having rallies in support or against LGBT issues. As long as they're not hateful, not vile, not violent, I don't care. Have your protest. It's a healthy part of a democracy to be able to go out into the street and not have the cops turn on you. So what I don't understand is why that makes people so angry. Well, I have an idea why that makes people so angry, and why people are angry enough to take to the streets and protest a democratically elected president, despite his winning the popular vote. But that's not how we pick presidents. So you got to follow the law. You got to follow the rules.
Well,
go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question.
Yeah.
What is the legality of walking out onto the interstate to stop traffic? I mean, there's a lot of people say this is illegal. I'm not quite sure it's illegal. You're allowed to walk out in the middle of traffic if you want.
Well, I don't think that. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I know that if we were to go out and set up a protest on the Capitol grounds right now, after they technically close for the evening because it's a secured site, whatever. I think that we get in trouble because we didn't get the proper permit. You can absolutely have permits and all kinds of things in the city, and when you close down Grand to have your rally for mental health issues like they did a few weeks ago, or about a month and a half ago, yeah, you have to get permission from the city just so that they have adequate public safety officers and that they know how to reroute things. That is fine. They're not saying you can't do it. They're saying you got to work with us to be able to do it. That's perfectly reasonable, and that stuff's been upheld as constitutional for years and years and years. I don't know about illegal, though. I think that you could probably be arrested for trespassing and that sort of thing if you were to do it without the proper permit. But my point is, I think the reason people are so upset, aside from the fact that Donald Trump ran a campaign that, and we'll get to Hillary Clinton too.
You bet.
Donald Trump ran a campaign that, for folks that I think that was objectively harsh, used language that presidential candidates in modern history haven't used, attacked groups of people that I think that was shocking. And so for a lot of folks, it's a reaction to that. But the main thing is that politics now has become this team sport where we behave we behave the way that winning and losing teams of championships. We're behaving the way that the Penn State kids behaved when old Papa Joe was forced to resign over Jerry Sandusky. Yeah. We're behaving the way that if you see those videos of Calgary on fire when during a hockey not even Stanley Cup, a hockey championship. I mean, it is now, we have now put on our red hats or our blue pantsuits, and we're just at each other's throats because it's not about running the country anymore. It's about whose team wins. And that is so, and this election more than any other election before it, even in 2000, because in 2000 there was a legitimate reason, and this is what people forget, there was a legitimate reason to get it right. Because Florida was called for Gore, and then it was taken away from him, and then there was issues with the voting apparatus down there, and it had to be recounted under state law. There was a legitimate reason, but ever since then, and I mean before then, but this is the most divisive, team-oriented election that I can remember, and that's what's got people so fired up. We get so emotionally wrapped up in our groups. We get so emotionally wrapped up in the things that give us an identity, and it is great to identify in a particular political party, but you cannot lose sight of the fact that the function of that political party is to organize you to be able to change your community for the better, and to draft leaders to enact specific kinds of policy to be able to live together in this country. That's the danger that we're seeing. And I hope that I hope that this election has been a wake-up call for folks. We'll talk about that
after the break. All right. Honest to goodness, I hate it when I say, yeah, Lefty's right on this. That's my analysis, too. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We're taking a break just a little bit early. We'll be back right after this. We'll continue to talk about why political parties are necessary and why there's so much anger on both sides of this aisle. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We couldn't do what we do without you.